talking minds running hot. Every lane was burning, every call got shot. A pistol stayed silent, eyes on the flare. One last card in the dark, one last breath in the air. Electrolink, strike through the haze. Electrolink, turn the lost to a blaze. A fisto in the clutch, let the whole field sing. Electrolink, crowned by the final ring. Early round disaster, bodies in the dirt. Ropes thought they had us, thought the win was certain work. Sun's down to sparks now, bulwarks barely stood. Still we kept the timer like we knew we would. One more reset, one more climb. Rogues kept pressing hard, we kept buying time. A Mephisto raised a signal clean and straight. Then the whole sky snapped open at the edge of fate. Electrolink, strike through the haze. Electrolink, turn the lost to a blaze. A Mephisto in the clutch, let the whole field sing. Electrolink, crowned by the final ring. They had us counted out, they had us on the floor. Then the last round came and opened every door. Blue white fade in motion, ripping through the night. Rogues fell all at once when the link locked tight. Electrolink, last hand, last flame. Electrolink, carved off Fisto's name. Bulwarks down, shines torn, still we took the crown. Electrolink, pull the whole fight down. Out in the wild grass, you froze my breath. I saw you move like a living myth. Bright-eyed storm with the blade thin frame. I said your name like I knew that flame. You turned your head, I held my ground. No crowd, no crown, just that heart pound sound. I read your steps, you read mine too. One wrong move and the sky split blue. Then you came in close and you pulled away. I sent my drone on the edge of the fray. Your pulse ran hot, my hand stayed steady. One more hit and the shard was ready. I caught you, I caught you. Now you're mine to run with. I caught you, I caught you. We're alive, we're hunting. You were wild, then you fell. Now we rise together. I caught you, I caught you. Let's go forever. Let's go forever. The wild side flashed with the broken roar. You kept coming back, then you asked for more. My drone spun fast through the dust and spray, while your last wild spark kept fading away. Then the final flash hit clean and white. Your whole shape folded into light. I held my breath when the seal went tight and the whole world cracked into flight. And you came in close and you pulled away. I sent my drone on the edge of the fray. Your pulse ran hot, my hand stayed steady. One more hit and the shard was ready. I caught you, I caught you. Now you're mine to run with. I caught you, I caught you. We're alive, we're hunting. You were wild, then you fell. Now we rise together. I caught you, I caught you. Let's go forever. In my palm, your spark. In the dark, your sign. Every road we take from here I woke up to the refinery glow, feeling my hands still running low. Blueprints stacked on the bench again. Every new fix just leads to 10. Walls go up and the hunger grows. Another upgrade, another load. I built this place with my own 2 hands. Now it keeps asking me to stand. I'm tired, but I'm still here, counting every scrap I clear. If I keep my head on straight, maybe this will turn to fate. Worth it in the end, worth it in the end. I keep on building, I keep on bending. Worth it in the end, worth it in the end. Every hard day, every slow spend, I tell myself it's worth it in the end. Gather the fuel at the edge of town, drag it back when the sun goes down. Research lines on a cracked up screen, chasing what this whole thing means. I upgrade one, then I need 2 more. That's the kind of life I can't ignore. It's frustrating, yeah, I won't pretend, but I'm not leaving this halfway built. I'm tired, but I'm still here, counting every scrap I clear. If I keep my head on straight, maybe this will turn to fate. Worth it in the end, worth it in the end. I keep on building, I keep on bending. Worth it in the end, worth it in the end. Every hard day, every slow spend, I tell myself it's worth it in the end. Someday I'll stand at the gate and see what all this grind creates. Every step, every small repair will look like a map when I get there. Worth it in the end. Ooh. Worth it in the end. I keep on building, I keep on bending. Worth it in the end, worth it in the end. I've come too far to just give in, so I keep on going, I keep believing. Worth it in the end, worth it in the end.
All right, everybody, you're ready to go here. This is going to be an exciting one. Of course, we have the finale of Season 1 of the RattyData tournament. These players over the last month or so have been playing in multiple weekly sit-and-go sessions through the ranked ladder here in Illuvium Arena for their opportunity to score some points. Of course, every week you're getting some prizes as well, but it all leads into what we're seeing here today, the season finale. Our top 8 players across all of those sit-and-goes week after week, day after day, are here in one best of 3 scenario to potentially get their hands on their share of potentially a $500 prize pool, plus a little bit of additional prizes on top of that. Looking forward to this one as we get into introduce our players right off the rip. Let's take a look and see who we have here today. So the players have made it on through. Everybody verified, everybody checked in, so in theory, all is good. We have Bart from Atlas, we have Androa, we have Wolverine777 Hype, we have Dr. Spoon, we have Texan, we have Dreknyen, we have Hector from Mad Dogs, and last but not least, we have Nariba. 8 absolute fantastic players here in the Illuvium Arena, and I'm looking forward to seeing them in action here in this RattyData tournament. Of course, with this tournament, this is with ownership bonds, so Leviathan rules, this traditional stuff that we're used to playing, and ranked, that's how it's going to end up being. Everybody at this point here, definitely some incredible teams in some incredibly strong levels, incredible TPI. As we're going through the game itself, I'm sure I'll highlight it as best as I possibly can. And then I'm also kind of on not truly TO duty. Bondaddy Ready, of course, has that. But I am managing the lobby, so if I get distracted every once in a while, that is on me. But now we do have 8 out of 8. Okay, there we go. Perfect. So everybody right on the swing of things is what I'd love to see. So again, yeah, everybody's been playing for the last month or so to try and get into this tournament. And they've also been playing in a couple of the other, or on Ranked itself, as well as a handful of these players anyway, also play in the Illuvium Arena House League that we do see every week here as well. And I'm very, very torn. Of this list of players, I genuinely cannot pick a favorite here. Because one misconception that I did have a little bit earlier was that Bart from Atlas was Fox Spirit. But from what I'm understanding, over and over I'm being told, is that is actually not Fox Spirit. It might have been the same account initially, but I'm being told it's not Fox Spirit. So somebody else from the Atlas squad, aka Bart in this instance, will be piloting the account, whether it's Fox Spirit's team potentially. I'm not 100% sure. But of course, that's kind of the beauty of Web3. We could always just trade the alluvials around and whatnot as well. So looking forward to seeing how Bart performs. Of course, if you're looking at the ranked leaderboards, you'll see Bart is absolutely up there, if not a lot of times on top of the leaderboard. So, like first case scenario, you'd think go to the ranked leader as your arguable favorite for the entire tournament. But we've seen that doesn't necessarily translate into tournament play once best of threes start getting into effect. Once you're consistently getting full lobbies, a lot of things can absolutely change. So, of all these players, I definitely am a little bit torn as to who to go for. I could go the other route in terms of who has the most esports experience, where in that regards, I would then lean more towards, say, Nariba. But Nariba, I do not believe, has the best team in terms of our top 8 here, in terms of levels, in terms of TPI. So they might have the esports experience, but do they have the team to back it up? I'm not 100% sure. We'll have to see as we go on through here. We just got things started here for game number 1. We're going to be loading in here in just a moment. And of course, while I do have the game going, while this is an esports experience, at the same time, I do change it up a little bit because I do also like to have chat involved as much as possible as well. So everybody that's been in here since the starting soon screen, there's a bunch of you. It's awesome seeing you all here, whether it's supporting a player, whether you're just happy to have a fun time. I'm looking forward to discussing the match with you all as it goes live, in which we won't wait any further. Let's get into our very first match of the game. All right, so one more time, again, to introduce our players, we've got Dr. Spoon, Wolverine777, Androa, Bart from Atlas, Hector from Mad Dogs, Texan, Nariba, and Draknian. We got in right before we actually start swinging away at the weapon round. So perfect timing, if I do say so myself. Of course, Dr. Spoon here picking up the Lamborghini board as well. Very, very pretty one from our past tournaments there in the Motorverse Cup. Always a pleasure seeing the Lambos on board. But right off the rip, Dr. Spoon going to end up taking this one, it looks like, here on Bart. In regards to our region here for today, we are going to be picking up on Brightland Steps, and this is the fun one that lets you get away with some risky play. And I'm really going to be looking forward to that, because you start with 20 free shop rerolls. So whether you want to get to level 5 and maybe push for a tier 1 fully evolved that maybe you wouldn't normally push for, like say a Seaforest, for example, or you save those free rerolls for sometime in the later game. The options are there, but either way, you're going to be saving yourself a lot of credits, but also allowing yourself to be aggressive if you would like. In terms of weapons for this time, of course, meta-wise, there's a few things kind of going on. Of course, if you're just kind of tuning in to some Illuvium Arena content over the last couple of days, the things that you'll probably end up seeing the most is usually fire-based builds alongside earth-based builds. When it comes to fire, a lot of times it ends up being Inferno Arcanite or Inferno Behemoth that just has so much burst damage and just does so much damage overall that is really, really tough to break, dealing a ton of percent health damage. Meanwhile, Mystics, if fire is the offensive option, Mystics is going to be the defensive option. where just picking up as many mystics as you possibly can relies on a little bit of a later game setup, but if you do pull it off, your team basically becomes impenetrable. But we do see a couple things in the mix here. In Ariba, we do see picking up the Aqua Blaster, so that's going to be looking a little bit more towards, say, maybe a Steam Harbinger or a full water build. Umber, while maybe not the best team in the game, is still very, very good to play around. We do see Hector from Mad Dogs here, of course, with the Vinebound Cleaver. Rogues, as long as you're not heavily contested on Rogues, it can be good, but we're seeing here with Hector and Dr. Spoon, both of them have picked up Rogues. If they are going to be fighting each other for it, they're both going to be in for a world of hurt. Striking in with the Ember Bucklers for a little bit of fire action, and Droa with the Ember Bastion, that's your Earth Bulwark weapon. Bart from Atlas does have the Sprout Guard, with the weapon that arguably is being considered as one of the more overpowered ones, thanks to the amount of shields that it can give you. It's only been relatively recently kind of discovered it's just that good, and more people are starting to pick it up, but it does mean you have to try and go into Harbinger or some other interesting team composition. Then last but not least here, Wolverine has what, again, other people would argue is the best weapon in the game, the Strike Boomerang, being able to go for Inferno Behemoth. And last but not least, Texan with the Elderwood Staff for some nature empath play. We are riding along here with Dr. Spoon for a little bit, but now let's hop on over to Endroa. They're going up against Draknian. Drak, of course, has been 2 days in a row, essentially, here. Yesterday, of course, they were playing in House League. Now they're here in the RattyData Finals. And, of course, from Australia, of course, that is a heck of a time zone difference. This is going to be, I believe, the second night in a row where they've had to get up extremely early. Well, hopefully they got their coffee and are ready to rock here this morning, because these Lynxes and the rest of the squad just absolutely tore on through. Drak looking good to start off on this one. As we hit an NPC round, we can take a very quick look at the economy side of things here for all of our players, see where everybody is standing. And as of right now, Wolverine has not lost a round, also very, very high on credits as well, leading the field currently with 54. And then Bart is the one who's spent the most, currently at 29. I got to confirm here from Red Fox that Drak has indeed made everybody coffee, so okay, good. You're all set and good to go this time by. Perfect, perfect. Wait, up there we go. Alright, now that we've hit this NPC round, that's all finished, let's take a look and see one more time. Endroa is interesting. We've seen Endroa on the ranked ladder for the longest time. Very, very strong player, but I normally never see them in a competitive setting. That is going to be a little bit different here today, of course, here in the RattyData Finals. And we see them lining up this rake, a very early rake considering the level. Level 6, getting the chances at finding the little dashes are actually kind of tough. But yet, already evolving this into the midway. Heck, they got a rake before they got an Archos. That is going to be a little bit troublesome. But they're going up against Texan, and then Texan's on a bit of a hot streak ever since, like, say, this last couple of weeks or so. We've been seeing Texan a lot more often as of late, including their first time in House League just yesterday, winning their first appearance in the Monarch Masters, and looking to take some of that momentum here into the RattyData tournament. And so far, so good. A very beefy squad coming on through with 6 nature already in play, so no wonder nothing died. Everything was just healing so damn quick. Now let's take a look here with Nariba. They are, of course, going for the Aqua Blaster, a little bit more of a water-centric team. They, too, also having a dash here at level 5, but unlike what we saw with Endroa, it's still just the little guy, just a little dash coming on through. And then Hector and Dr. Spoon both went for Rogues. Hector had some serious success yesterday with those. I'm looking forward to seeing how they can pull this off, because last time, Texan basically stole the Malura from Hector during the competition yesterday. So I'm curious as to if they'll get any luckier this time by. Texan, of course, going to be having maybe that same play style. But let's keep the fight at hand as we see here. Hector looking good, did have the level advantage actually as well. So the T-Ruo as a nice early game carry, a very nice one. That is absolutely brutal. Because, of course, T-Ruo, its main thing, it doesn't necessarily have a big Omega ability per se like you would see with other Alluvials. However, right off the rip, it does get additional bonus damage. So it's really good at singling out and taking down a target, which can then absolutely snowball here with the Echoing Force Reactor, a couple of the items that we see already in play. But speaking of Texan and Wolverine, actually, Wolverine, what are you cooking here? We do see, of course, Wolverine was going for that Inferno-based style, and we do see the Ace is right around the corner, getting ready to potentially get that evolved up into Arctace, and then you'll be able to get that Inferno online. But they also have a lot of beautiful augments to put on to this Fury. Offensively sound, defensively pretty solid as well. So this little snake's just going to be belting out a ton of damage, but Texan's team is very well oriented towards defense, and including, of course, that 6 fire. Wildfire is now online as well, now that the Crunk has arrived, and that is a perfect Crunk. So, very, very beautiful one at that. The nature units coming out here from Texan are holding the line very, very well. We're starting to see the fire spread right into the back line before the rest of these alluvials even had the chance to even get on in there. And sure enough, Texan's going to be able to hold the line rather nicely, even though the Fury did so much damage. The fact that that healing was not counteracted by, say, Inferno, it's not going to be enough to deal with the healing. So Wolverine going to take the hit. Texan in the driver's seat so far of game number 1 of the RattyData tournament. Who have I not really peeked in on so far? Have I done Spoon? Done Wonder Track? I think we'll do this one here. Dr. Spoon versus Bart. Bart, what have you gone for? So we do have this Ranger loaded up as a Granite Enchanter. What the heck are you even building? That, of course, is that Scion weapon this time by. With Granite already going to be online thanks to the appearance of the TNT, but of course with that being a backline unit, it's not going to truly utilize that Granite just yet, but throwing it onto the Ranger makes it quite nice. Enchanter also online to now utilize this Kukaloose a little bit of healing, a little bit of AoE damage coming on through every single time the Ranger and the Kukaloose ends up casting. And 6 Earth, I mean, that is a lot of mitigation. How you value mitigation right now can be a little bit questionable. A lot of people think that mitigation's a little bit on the lesser important side. But as of right now, looking at this battle here, Dr. Spoon versus Bart, granted, Bart did have the level advantage, but they absolutely swarmed on through. They maybe lost 1 unit at tops. So a very beautiful battle here for Bart to be able to get the win onto that one. Setting Dr. Spoon down to 60 credits currently. We do have a weapon reroll, not this round, but the next round's coming up. So if anybody wants to take a switch, maybe they can look to do that. I do see Dr. Spoon, in fact, did actually pivot away from the rogues upon seeing that Hector also had them. And picking up the Sprout Guard here instead. Now, a nice little pickup here for Nariba, one that we do not see very often. The Atlas might be the poster child of Illuvium, but the fully evolved form kind of gets left on the sidelines when it comes to competitive play. But Axodon is here. A nice early game find here for Nariba. And this is going to allow for Tsunami Harbinger to actually be played out in this battle. And it's just a matter of getting this Ebb evolved into the Flood, and that'll be an additional Tsunami. And Tsunami's been a very weird, a weird affinity or a weird element to actually play with, because it's not that Tsunami is bad, because you're getting a bunch of energy every single time you cast back, and then dealing area of effect damage around you. But I'd argue it's just that the units that Tsunami is on, it's missing something, so to speak. Because the units that can use it with the Axodon and then, say, the Flood, and then even the Ranger actually is pretty sick as well, but you're not truly getting, like, maximum utility out of it with the units that you're going for. So it's just missing that one extra piece. Could that one extra piece potentially be made up with the composite synergy? Everybody's going to be getting some chips in the next little bit once they open their boxes. We'll go through all those boxes in just a moment's time, but Texan did take some heat, and I want to see what happens here now when water meets grass. Texan's going to have the hyper advantage for the handful of those nature units, but I do believe in terms of evolution, in terms of value, Nariba's got the stronger units, but it's going to be a close one nonetheless. The Twist Wing coming on through, going to interrupt that Flish, but every single time that Ranger casts, that's a big old burst damage and a mini interrupt on top of all that. But let's take a look at the dash right in the middle. It's used its phase breaker already. That is like the lone damage coming out here from Nariba's team. It will fall shortly, I do imagine. The Axodon finally falls. There goes the dash. And the Lulura in the background also just chipping away, really putting the hurt here onto Nariba. Texan, that 8 nature plus bloom style, really putting the hurt here onto Nariba. This is also the point here in the game where you start to see the rogue players start to turn on the gas or slam the gas a little bit in terms of their credits. Granted, at the same time, though, Hector is not going to be contested anymore in terms of the slash-in. But like we saw yesterday, Luluras kind of get picked up by anything. And Texan, even similar to what we saw yesterday, picking up a Lulura just for the sake of it being in as a part of a Bloom team. But at the same time, ends up stealing it a little bit from Hector. Now, with this, Verdant Vanguard is now online, so we do have that Penguin going to be doing a absolute ton of damage. We're going to get the charts up. We do see a Vanguard chip also in play here for the ramp fee of Hector, so even more damage coming on through. And look at that. This looks extremely good here for Hector going up against Wolverine. Just consistent damage. 10k here for the Penguin. Gonna absolutely put the hurt in. That Rampy on the other side here for Wolverine. Tried its damnedest, but not going to be able to pull through this time by. And now Dr. Spoon going to end up losing another one here. They're going to be down at the bottom for this one. Let's take a look and see what they're cooking. Of course, with the Sprout Guard, so it's an all-right weapon again, or a good weapon overall. With that shield scaling, we see the fortified barrier as a pickup here onto that weapon augment, allowing just for that shield every single Omega to do a ton of extra blocking. But where do you actually build in terms of a team composition with this? Because normally you think of a shield and you think of a bulwark, you can potentially go into some sort of behemoth play. What we end up seeing here is actually Berserker. We do see the Berserker chip onto the Jokul to try and get a ton of work done here. Dr. Spoon still level 6. That Exalted Monkier is here as well. But holy hell, Dr. Spoon just got absolutely crushed here by Wolverine 777. And Doc, what do you have left in the tank? Not even that much. I think at this point here, like, they have good alluvials, but they don't have very many right now, which is putting them in such a weird spot. Because I see what they're going for. They would love to be able to get an additional Berserker here with the Rip Lance. But Rip Lance is also being contested by Nariba, who does have a Riptorus currently on the board as a part of an all-water based team. Just making it so irritating here, which means you'd have to look for maybe a little bit more mud. That seems to be the way that we end up going here. If I saw that correctly, I think I saw the Exalted Gorilla get evolved here, so that's going to add mud to the synergies. But what do you do, Mud Arcanite? It looks like that's going to be the way they're going to try and pull this off. Now going up against Nariba, who, like I was saying, was going for a very high water-based team. But look at this. 8 water, 4 tsunami is online because of a tsunami chip that's now been added to the rake. That is actually kind of disgusting, because that means we're going to have some serious uptime on the dodge chance of that rake every single time it casts. And yeah, between that and the Sinolf, there's just so much firepower through this water, and that is going to mean that we lose Dr. Spoon first here on game number 1 of our RattyData tournament. Of course, best of 3, but starting off with a last place finish is definitely going to hurt here for Dr. Spoon. Texan also going up against Androa. This one's still actually in progress. An Umber online, and it is a Harbinger Umber, if I recall correctly. No, or is that Aegis? This is an Aegis Umber actually coming on through, but still, Texan has built the wall that nobody seems to be able to penetrate right now. Beautifully done, gonna hold this off, and with so many alluvials still alive, does that knock Androa out? Yes, it will. Androa going to be down in 7th. One person jumping for joy because of that scenario, though, is going to be Nariba. Since they're going for a heavy water build, the heavy water build's big carry is an Umber, but the Umber was stolen from them from Androa. That is now back on the board, thankfully, there for them, because the Androa did fall. But at the same time, though, Nariba did not save, very many credits to potentially go for it. We do see one more rake on the bench, so they need to find just 3 more dashes to potentially pull that off. But it's going to be tough. 20 credits, that's not a very good odds and they're going up against Hector, who's got a very devastating rogue team coming on through. No fully evolved big carries just yet, but the ramp fight has arrived as well. That also is, of course, a Vanguard now with that chip. One more dash onto the board. Mammoth going to get moved around a little bit, but can Nariba potentially find it, or do they think they have enough that they can save? It's a scary spot, but one thing that they can take into consideration, either way, they have enough health to at least take one loss. But this one's going to be explosive and very quick. I'm actually really looking forward to this battle coming up here. Another flood online. Oh, actually, they do spend it. And hello, gorgeous. That is a amazing Umber. Beautiful stats and hollow buff on top of that. That is absolutely beautiful. But let's see if it's beautiful when it comes to topping the damage charts, because that is going to be a tough task with all of these rogues flying on through. But with the Umber being stuck on the Twine, it's actually a best case scenario, because it's going to be Wraith Strike after Wraith Strike coming on through from that Umber, just doing multiple shots over and over again. That was freaking disgusting. 20k damage onto that Umber. The Tsunami just allowing that Wraith Strike to happen over and over and over again, and it was not challenged in the slightest. That was a beautiful team, beautiful play coming out here from Nariba. Our top two currently in action, it looks like here. Let's quickly try to hop on and catch the tail end of this fight. Of course, the 8 Nature coming on through with the 3 Bloom versus Earth and Granite. So two extremely tanky teams really starting to put in some work here in this first game. But it looks like it's going to go over to Bart at the end of the day this time. Texan is still going to lead this lobby, but it's with 72 HP. Now, Draknyen, they have essentially their tried and true, their bread and butter. Heck, they even got the Aegis chip to go alongside with it. The biggest thing that I guess you would consider a miss is the fact that Blotto is not here. Of course, we've seen this before if you watch Drak's streams or if you watched House League, even just yesterday. This is what Drak goes for. Aegis buff the Furiox, turn this into an absolute monster carry with the backup of a Fur Knight and having just so much tank that this Furiox can go absolutely nuts. But optimally, you want that to be a Scoriox, and Wolverine 777 just stole it. So let's see how it goes here for Drak. Can they stop Bart? The one problem here for the Furiox is that it is not going to be doing super effective damage up against that Earth team. It's just going to be stuck just firing away, getting that attack speed ramped up as much as possible. If they can find the right target, like right now they're stuck on the Goliath. That is a brutal thing to have to try and fire on through. The Forest is trying to get some additional shots here onto some of these squishier units, like the Kookaloo at least, ended up falling. But now that Forest goes down very, very quickly. It should fall in just a second, there it goes. Meanwhile, the Forest on the side of Bart really going to utilize just some of that additional tankiness, but now that Furiox does turn and burn. Did the front line here from Drak actually hold long enough to make this happen? It actually looks like it was successful at doing so. Draknyen able to wade off Bart here this time and get a big win. In the meantime, we did actually lose Hector from Mad Dogs as well in that battle. So unfortunately, we didn't catch the tail end of that there. But Hector going to fall in 6th overall. Did find the slash in, but again, we are trying to shoot for slash and Malura, with Malura being such a sought-after unit across multiple teams now, not even just rogue teams anymore. Bloom, Earth, Malura is a welcome addition, and it's making trying to hit those rogues very difficult. Meanwhile, here for Drak, if this ends up being a bad loss, they could be out of here. And we've seen what Nariba can do. Absolute shotgun style of this water team is beautiful to watch. And look for that Sinolf directly through the Archos alongside that Fur Knight. But the Fur Knight actually did a pretty good job of tanking this. It is allowing for that Furiox to kind of ramp up a little bit. But what about dealing with that Umber? That's the big problem right here, right now. Heck, Mammoth even wants to get involved. That is going to be problematic here because that Furiox's shots aren't where they need to be. They do eventually end up getting it down. It's a little bit of a rat race now here between the Snake and the Sinolf. But it looks like I think Drak's actually in a pretty good spot, sitting on top of their own verdant puddle to keep themselves alive. And they do manage to win versus Nariba. This is where things start to get a little bit rough here. Nariba, 13 HP. If they happen to go down, that is it. So they will be out of here for game number 1. Same thing here with Drak going up against Texan. And Texan, of course, the absolute brick wall. But if it's a brick wall, it means there's more time for the Furiox to ramp up potentially. So maybe that's one way we can get it done here. We saw a couple of big upgrades. First and foremost, Wolverine going up against Drax Ghost, but we got to watch out. We do have the Behemoth duo online. But let's take a look at a live battle here. Nariba versus Bart. This is the one that I think is going to go quickly one way or another. Let's see if Nariba and this incredible Shotgun Water team can get the job done. Umber off the right-hand side, going to be starting to farm off of an Appon. That's not a bad case scenario, actually. Going to get one of those stacks onto that Echoing Force reactor. Can it start to snowball here? So far, so good. It's still full HP as well, and it's going to be going hyper as well. Water versus Earth. That's super effective. And right now, it's going to be all on the Umber, though. It's going to be a 1v5. It's not the Umber of old, but can they get the job done? This is scary. Can we see a couple more Wraith Strikes? There goes the Goliath. Keep getting that Tsunami buff. Keep getting energized. This Umber's not done. It's snowballing. It's got great. The stun from the Kookaloos. It shuts it down. And what looks like a runaway Umber is not going to end up happening. We do lose Nariba in 5th. And now we have an NPC round, and we almost lost Texan, actually. So Draknien, the fact that they were shooting up against the brick wall did allow for that Furiox to start shooting fast enough to just do way too much damage. NPC. Okay, so this is going to be tough here, because now we have Wolverine to worry about. Wolverine, first and foremost, stole the Scoriox. That's going to be a little bit rough here for Drak because they're no longer going to get the big super carry for their team. On top of all of that, we already have natural Behemoth being online here with this beautiful Jotun in the front line or in the back line ready to catch a couple of these rogues, it looks like. And then the Seer as well. Going to be just absolutely devastating. So many stuns going to be coming on through. But Texan, not going to say die. They want to get themselves a little bit further. If they can maybe get one win here off of Wolverine, that could move them into a podium position. And this Adorius is here to try and help. A big final pickup. Everybody except Wolverine has spent the bank to try and get their best possible teams. Let's take a look at this one. The 8 Nature 4 Bloom. We hardly ever actually see this in play. The longer this game goes, those Bloom units are going to be tankier and do much more damage as well. But they have to stay alive. It's all on the Adorius, who does not have much healing for itself unless it actually targets itself. But it would much rather be targeting its partners here in this instance. The Blotto's down. It's all up to the Forest, and I believe there's one other unit kind of stuck in there. And it is going to end up being the green side taking it. There we go. Texan and the Forest going to be the last one standing there with the Adorius. I didn't even realize as well having the Scything Pulse Reactor to even just steal Omega Power, just sapping it away. But meanwhile, this battle is still in action. Bart versus Atlas. We're going to catch the tail end of this one, or Bart versus Drak rather, in this one. And it looks good for Drak once again. Bart knocked down. We have a couple players in the single digits. This is going to get scary real fast. Our bottom two competing up against each other right here, right now. What kind of possible upgrades can any of these players potentially see here? Not much, considering they are both broke as heck. It's not going to end up happening. Just so much contesting on the Lalura, making things so damn irritating for both these players. Hector got bit by it as well. Just the star-nosed mole is a favorite on all of these teams, apparently. Now, again, we have full 8 Nature with the Bloom. With 7 Earth, 3 Granite, and some Bloom as well. Both of these teams do not mind going late game, but I'd argue Texan would be in a much better position. See how it goes. This is going to be a little bit of a wet noodle fight, but one way or another. Oh, that charm actually was kind of brutal, and the Adorius walks all the way into the front line to the point where if that Forest gets into a good spot, it might be able to actually start chipping away here at this Adorius, and if that healer goes down, everything I said about Texan 1 the late game goes absolutely out the window because the big healer's down. Big stun. Adorius, the big elk is gone. There goes the support. Everybody has to fend for themselves. The Gazatep in the backline here is just being an absolute menace, just consistently getting these alluvials into spots where they end up getting swarmed, walking into a group of these nature or these granite units. And with that, that is going to be an incredible win here for Bart. Texan had an incredible team, but it is going to end up falling. The charm on the Adorius was absolutely clutch. And then we do lose Drac Yen as well. Going to end up falling in third, considering the big carry was contested. Making the podium, that's a W in its own right there. So good on Drac on that regard. We have potentially our final battle. Everybody has spent essentially everything that they can. And the green side, we've got Wolverine 777, and then in the red, we got Bart. The full firepower, 6 fire coming out here from Wolverine with that big old Scoriox, but we also got the behemoth side of things. The Seer and the Jotun doing a fantastic job in the front line, just continually stunning. But this is up against an Earth team. Earth will be super effective or bring the hyper against them. But there is % health damage coming out here from that Scoriox, so it does not necessarily care about your defenses. But the charm from the Gazatep brings that Scoriox up front, but if anything, it looks like it's just brought that Scoriox closer to get a nice clean shot at Bart's team. And as it stands right here, right now, this is looking extremely good here for Wolverine. One more shot, one more Omega coming out here from the ramp fight, and that will be curtains. Bart will fall in second. Game 1 of the RattyData tournament goes to Wolverine 777. Congratulations. A solid game number 1 overall, but fired the fact that it was uncontested, and it's the reason why we've been saying this has been a strong team for a good little while, especially when you are uncontested at getting the behemoths. To be able to get the Scoriox, Seer, and Jotun, that is incredible, and they are able to absolutely clutch that out there, so beautifully done there from Wolverine. I like Bart's team as well, though. Earth is, again, not sought after, seen as a very strong composition usually outside of Mystic, but they are able to pilot this rather nicely all the way to a second place position. Drac with the Tried and True going to be, even when their big carry cannot evolve all the way, bringing it all the way to a third place spot. Texan, it was a heavy nature team, but almost got the job done. Just unfortunately, a big clutch charm from the Gazatep of Bart shut him down, put him in a dangerous spot. Nariba, Hector, Androa, and Dr. Spoon going to round up the bottom half of this one, but of course, this is a best of 3. It's not just it. In regards to the point side of things, so this means that Wolverine gets 8 points, then 7 to Bart, 6 for Drac, 5 for Texan, 4 Nariba, 3 Hector, 2 Androa, and 1 to Dr. Spoon. There is nobody that gets negative points or gets 0 points or anything along those lines. And then one thing to consider here as well. Is that there is no checkmate in today's event. So you can just farm points, and heck, if you do extremely good in 2 games in a row, you could be sitting pretty going into game 3, and heck, maybe even win the tournament before the game's technically done. But it is a best of 3, adjustments can be made. Nariba in the chat here, how does my 4 Tsunami Umber lose for 7 Earth Enchanter? It's definitely a little surprising. Love the team though, Nariba, love what you cooked up there. But no matter what, this will be fine, and just keep going. That was... You can get yourself back into this one. Alright, next game. Let me send game 2 to Retty. And then also going to give the shout out here to Bond Daddy Ratty, because of course they are the tournament organizer for these events, the Ratty tournaments. There's a couple different things going on here. First off, every single week, including I think as we speak right now, if you're playing in the ranked side of things, as long as you have the ticket for the events, a tournament ticket here on the RattyData website, you can participate into these events, which have $100 worth of skulls up for grabs here. So even once this tournament's done, there is still going to be openings on the RattyData website for some more illuvium arena competition. So while, say, my house league, for example, is more so built towards helping build collections and helping, say, newcomers get in, RattyData's tournaments here are more so for those that are like already established a little bit and ready to take it to the next level, to the point where they can even start making a little bit of money through skulls this way as well. That being said, though, if you're a newcomer and you want to go for a tournament, hell yeah, go for it. I'm not going to tell you not to. It's still going to be a fun time, but just, you can tell, everybody's giving you their top level, so to speak, here in the RattyData tournament. Draken chat here really started on the back foot for that one, but third was good, 100%. As soon as I saw that the Scoriox was taken, I'm like, okay, your team now has a shelf life. How far can it go? And a podium? Hell yeah. Good finish. Of course, Draken is After Work Gaming. They're one of the few other people that do actually stream Illuvium Arena on the weekly. So if you have not done so already, make sure you're subbed to them as well. Okay, loading on up here for game number 2 in just a couple of moments. Brief water break. But how's everybody thinking, or how's everyone feeling after game number 1? Who's your picks now? Wolverine absolutely came in clutch, but do you think they'll go all the way? Wait, excuse me, quickly fix something up in the background real fast. You see Tallulah in chat saying Wolverine could do it. Absolutely. I mean, getting a fantastic start, especially if Wolverine gets onto the podium again, it sets them up very beautifully here for this finale. There, now we've got ourselves like an actual leaderboard. Let me move my head out of the way here. So this is where we stand points-wise. Couple things to consider as well. Of course, with the points format, there is always the opportunity for tiebreakers to come into play. If that does end up happening, the way that the tiebreakers are going to be working is based off of, first, how many first places do you have? Then how many seconds? Then how many thirds? And then last but not least, if it's still tied after that, then okay, what was the best finish on the last game? So that's how they're going to be playing it here for this event. We're just missing one more player, and then we'll get into the swing of things here. We are just missing Hector, I think. Yeah, once they're in, we'll fire away with game number 2. That's definitely been interesting over the last couple of days. Seeing that Malura is so sought after, not just in rogue teams anymore, but with other team compositions as well. And it's not like Malura's like a busted unit, just it fits into so many team compositions. Whether it just be as a disruptor, and then of course rogues like it for the Vanguard status. Some people like it for additional bloom. It's a very flexible unit, I suppose to be the word here for it. A very flexible unit. Ooh. But it was cool seeing the composite chips come on through there. Like, normally we don't get to see teams like for Bloom and for Tsunami. There's definitely some holes currently in the illuvium, or in the alluvial lineup, that need a little bit more. Either, I mean, one or two things what I personally would end up doing if I were to try and fix it. Since, say, Tsunami, for example, and Bloom, the amount of alluvials that you can get don't naturally hit 4, right? So why don't it actually be dropped down so that the max threshold is 3 for Tsunami, for example? Like, make all the thresholds actually be reachable naturally, and then let it happen so when chips get into play, let just one more have like a little bit of diminishing returns, so to speak. Give it that effect, but don't give anything further. Because, like, say Toxic, you're never going to get 4 Toxic because you need a chip for that, and you're probably going for something else. Same thing with Tsunami, same thing with Bloom. I find it really strange how there's max thresholds for certain team compositions, but you can't actually get it without a chip. And then there with your RattyData website working great. Yes, big shoutouts to Ratty, not just for the tournaments, but for RattyData itself. I know personally I use this every single week as a part of the Illuvium Arena House League, and how I'm batch transferring all of the alluvials from my events account into all of your accounts right afterwards. The fact that I don't have to take every single alluvial from the Alluvidex and transfer them individually, because holy smokes, I would have lost my mind if I had to do it that way. So I'm very thankful that Ratty's website exists there. Of course, I use it a lot during This Week in Illuvium as well, thanks to the Gauntlet Companion, being able to see the stats in regards to what happens to be meta, what teams are being built. And then it does sound like Hector has been given a 3-minute warning here. Otherwise, we will end up going without them, which is going to be a little bit frustrating. Now, Hector didn't even necessarily do too bad. I believe they got 5th or 6th in that last game. They were up there. Why am I guessing? I could just go check and double check, actually. Yeah, they got 6th. Like, you can still absolutely do some damage here. So, hoping we do see Hector come on back here. Heck, there's even one feature that Ratty has on their site now where I believe it lets you maintain your Illuvium 0 plots without actually logging into Illuvium 0. Like, you can just hit collect all, and it collects everything. I've definitely debated on it. It's something that you do have to... it is one of the paid features, but it's definitely worth it, especially if you have a ton of Illuvium 0 plots. Yeah, Dr. Spoon in chat, take your time, Hector, I'm almost home. You're almost home, then how did you play game 1? That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, Ratty's 0 manager saves me 30 minutes a day. I definitely believe it. Oh no, so actually, if we were being really stingy about it, that's a little bit of a scary thing to talk about there, Doc, where someone's playing for you, but it's not like we're playing for multi-thousands or something along those lines. It's still absolutely important, but we'll have to see, because that's a risky thing to admit. My brother is playing for me, but I get it. If you're running around, do what you gotta do. All right, I've been told to start the game, so we are going to be starting game number 2 in 3, 2, 1. Let's get into the swing of things here. Oh, how to definitely understand. Hope all is good. Nariba is secretly Drax's brother. Yes, of course. Of course, of course. Alright, so the lobby's been started. Just giving it a quick second to load in. It's Brightland again? The exact same one, too. Interesting. All right. All right, let's get into it. Game number 2 here for the RattyData tournament. Of course, all of these players playing for their share of a $500 prize pool, and then some additional prizes on top of that. And with that, we are down to 7, but still a very competitive group here. Looking forward to our next battle. Of course, Wolverine 777 coming in after a fantastic game number 1, getting a first place finish. And we have Nariba coming on through as well here. This time by got 5th last time with an incredible Tsunami Water team that just barely got shut down. We do have the one bots, but we'll try to disregard unless they happen to be taking alluvials that somebody might be needing. Dr. Spoon coming on through with a podium in, or not Dr. Spoon, that's Drac. Dr. Spoon had a rough game number 1, but looking to see them make a comeback here in game number 2. Texan had a fantastic nature build in game number 1, got them 4th, but obviously looking for the next step. And Droa went 7th last time by. Looking forward to seeing what they can do here today. Of course, I don't see them very often, so happy to see them here in the RattyData tournament. Now we've got Draknian. I called them out a little bit earlier, but yes, they're the one in the podium slot in 3rd place with that traditional Drac style, of course, relying heavily on Aegis and that Scoriox. Then last but not least, who did I lose in the shuffle? I believe it was Bart, who got 2nd last time with a very heavy Bloom and Earth-based team. Let's see how it goes this time. Of course, we are at round number 4, so let's see. Weapon-wise, what is available here for everybody as we go into game number 2? And Droa going to be picking up the Flame Warden Staff. This does open the door not just for Inferno, but you could do Mystic with this. Get a little bit of best of both compositions. Then we have Nariba going for Rogues, the classic Verdant Vanguard, probably right around the corner. Draknian with the Elderwood Staff, they're right at home with this one, looking good there. We have Bart from Atlas picking up the Aqua Blaster this time. Dr. Spoon, Ripple Flail in hand, that's your water bulwark weapon. Texan also with the Flame Warden Staff, again, potentially Inferno alongside Mystic. We can see where that goes from there. Then last but not least, our winner from last game is going to be picking up the Sprout Guard, the Earth Scion weapon there for Wolverine 777. Now in Droa, that's a heck of a start there. So, of course, having the Fire Staff, but very quickly also securing a little Fury. That doesn't come up very often. I feel like when you're at, what, level 5, that's probably, what, like a 1 or 2% chance to actually find a tier 4. But the Fury is going to join the fray extremely early. A little... Oh, 47, but look at those stats. This thing is definitely cracked out, just missing some resistances. Let's see how it goes versus Texan this time, who's also got the same weapon, but have opted looking for maybe the Templar kind of style. But the 2 Lynxes compared to the 1 is going to make a huge difference here. Even the Atipo shield coming out here from Texan, everything going their way. And Droa are going to take a massive hit here after the play of Texan. Of course, I say it pretty much every single time we have a game day, have a house league or whatever, but just getting 2 Lynxes extremely early makes things extremely comforting for you in the early rounds, say from rounds 4 all the way to say round 12. When there's still like a low amount of units on the board, Lynxes with their single target supremacy can be absolutely soul crushing to have to go up against. But once there starts getting a lot of alluvials on the board, the Lynxes definitely fall off a little bit, unless you opt into evolving them, which not very many people do, especially since the Lynx that you're getting, you never know what you're going to get until the game is actually live. So it's not necessarily something you could truly strategize around. And Drac is telling me not to sleep on the bot in this game as well, because look at this thing, it happens to be level 48 on average. Because of course the bots, when you're in ranked, this works the same way as well. But when you do have a bot in the game, it takes the average level of the players in the lobby and then tries to match that average level. So when a lobby is like this, where it's super strong and super cracked out, even the bot is dangerous. I mean, even just in a traditional game, the bot is dangerous as well. Especially since I don't know what it is over the last couple of weeks, but they've actually gotten really good at making teams. Now, an interesting little pickup here, the big old Valente coming on through. And this is where the Tier 0 struggles come in a little bit. A lot of people do not focus on Tier 0s for a long time. Unless Overworld was around, there was no way to really easily get Tier 0s. So it's a big spot that happens to be missing, I feel like, on a lot of players' teams. Like we're seeing here with the Exalted Air Valente, but still finding the Valente means this initial burst damage that's going to be doing from the Omega Stolen Sound here, that's nearly 1,000 damage in one fell swoop. So this just base level Valente is still going to hit like a truck. I want to see how this goes here with Bart versus Nariba. Here comes the big old chop, and there goes the Winx, taken off the field nice and quick. That alongside the rest of the crew here from this Harbinger-based style of Bart, going to crush through Nariba, sending them down to 70. We go take a look at Androa versus Dr. Spoon. It looks like one final flight to the ace. Almost got the job done, but Androa going to fall. Dr. Spoon going to take that one. Let's see if we can hop in with Drac. What are they going up with? Going up against Nariba here as well. Seeing a little bit of Nariba start things off, but that's a-okay. Credits-wise, where's everybody stand as of this moment? Couple players close to the 70 mark here. Nariba right there. Drac is right about there. Bart's not too far behind as well. But then you have Androa just straight up sending it with 1 credit left to their name, already level 7. He's really trying to get 6 Fire online as fast as possible. Very interesting strat. We do see here for the side of Draknien, it's going to end up being this Railu with the piercing force reactor. Every single time that Railu punches, it's going to be % health damage also being added to every single one of those fists. And these things do attack pretty quickly, but they lack an Omega that truly makes a difference. It's slowly going to be able to get there, and in fact it will be able to get the job done. The Railu going to clutch things up. Small little hit to Nariba, but Draknien right back in the driver's seat. And going up against Bart up next here as well. That'll definitely be tough. Let's hop along here with Texan versus Dr. Spoon this time. Now, we do have Mystic now online here for Texan, so this team already going to get rather defensive, and it's just a matter of where do you want to go from here. We do see the setup for Magma, not going to be completely online just yet, but by having a Fern on this team as well, this could very well turn into Wildfire Mystic, which is just a little bit of the best of both worlds, where you're defensive, but you're also going to be doing a ton of damage just over time as the game goes long. But Dr. Spoon seems to have a ton of damage to try and shut this team down before it gets the chance to really soup up that Burnite. But the little Rampy, I mean, if it can sneak in from the back here and get a good shot, Infernal Skyfall up to skies, and that is going to be the Pterodactyl, the Rampy, the last one standing. Beautiful shot there for Texan. Now let's see, Bart has still not went down. Let's take a look and see how it goes versus Androa, who, like I was saying before, they went very hard on spending. But to be fair, they've already gotten themselves, I believe it's 6 fire online, so you're getting that additional bonuses thanks to the attack damage gained and the max health damage as pure damage, but also rushing very quickly to be able to get this nice little Scoria or Furiox, who's here in beautifully offensive race sound. Hey, don't look at me that way there, Furiox. I see what you did there. But we do also have a Furiox on the other side coming on through here for the side of Bards, and they have the Flood here as well. Let's get the damage charts out here and see how this one ends up going. Right now it's the Harbinger, actually, of that Axon holding the line, thanks to that water bubble, or that aqua bubble, just able to continuously burst out AoE damage to the point where the front line just absolutely got crushed here for Androa. They will end up falling for the time being, unless that Furiox has something to say about it. Nope, not quite. That stun coming out here from the Aqua Blaster, because if you augment into it, if I recall correctly, let's see if it'll let me see it here. The Glacial Grip, there it is, being able to allow that Aqua Blaster to change from just an interrupt to actually being a pretty significant stun of 2.5 seconds. So was able to shut down the Furiox, allow for the rest of the team to clean up without worrying about an epic comeback coming out from that Furiox. All right, NPC round time. Let's keep an eye on the economy while we're going on through this one. So at this point, I imagine everybody has spent the majority of their Brightland Steps for your rerolls. Of course, the exact same region like what we saw in the last game, really allowing players like, say, Androa to go really crazy early, get a ton of rolls in. And in fact, let's take a look at Androa as we see a bunch of people starting to spam. So around 13 is when people really start to push and make some moves. A couple people bumping up into level 7s. Is there anyone for level 8? Yes, Bart, in fact, will be level 8. I do see composite chips coming into play once again. So this is literally just echoing what we saw in the game for game number 1, which is very surprising. Normally, these composite chips are not given out as often as we see, but it's starting to feel a little bit patch 1.12 where you're going to get these composite chips like candy, but it does make for some pretty crazy team compositions. Like we see 4 Predator online now here for Nariba. They really relied on Umber to do the carrying last time. They have the same type of setup to potentially pull this off once again, but getting that little bit of additional execution damage thanks to Predator is going to be brutal, and we normally don't see 4 Predator active because you can't get it naturally, but it gives you additional crit chance as amp as well, so your crits just hit that much harder. And holy smokes, Nariba looking good there in that last battle. Gonna take a look and see some of these other chips that may have dropped for our players here. Bart picking up a Harbinger, just gonna suit right in with the team comp they're already building. Beautiful. We do see Aegis here for Texan. They can turn maybe something a little bit similar to what we see Drac do, actually, going into this one. And a big evolution here for Texan as well, as the Arctase is now going to enable that Inferno. Let's see, Drac did get an Aegis chip, I believe, as well, so right along their normal traditional builds there. Behemoth level Furiox. If they do manage to get that, having the Furiox actually do stunning every couple of auto attacks is going to be very scary. Then we saw Nariba again with the Predator imprint onto the Penguin. And last but not least, it's an Inferno chip there for Androa. Let's take a look and see this battle here with Dr. Spoon and Nariba. Again, Nariba 7 rogues, but just look at the behemoths coming on through here. And they do, in fact, have Behemoth online there for that. And just look at that. Tiburuko goes directly into the Furiox. Normally, that's where that Tiburu wants to be. But nah, Furiox just stuns it in its tracks, immediately shuts it down, and going to take the victory there rather nicely. Nariba going to take a big hit here, down to 40 now, and we will be losing our bot probably in the next game, which is going to add a bunch of nature alluvials back into the pool. Yeah, very scary. Where's the Ranger and all this? Of course, oh yeah, right, because I was saying that this was going to be Toxic Aegis, but no, they turned this into Toxic Behemoth, actually, by pairing it up with the Forest. So that allowing Behemoth to be online, getting the chip, and now again, every couple of swings here, the Behemoth getting, first off, they get a bunch of additional health, but then additional damage and stunning every couple attacks as well. Could this potentially be the team that gives Bart their first loss here into this game? We'll have to see how it ends up going. So far, Furiox taking down a few of these Luvials nice and quickly. It looks like Bart's team is actually starting to fall apart around them. Twist Swing going to interrupt that little Alfie. But yeah, the fact that this Furiox has not been touched up until that point, the Ranger finally got a shot on it. And Alfie, it basically tickles. Another good stun coming up from the Ranger. It's all going to come down to whether the Ranger blocks this shot. It does. But now here comes the blast from this little Alfie. The Ranger getting shot after shot on the Furiox, turning that fight. Bart still going to remain undefeated so far. You played well, bot. GG. The bot is out of here. So, in regards to singes or getting flares, ferns, clings, petties, a lot of these nature alluvials coming right back into the pool here. Nariba, one of those players a little bit on the hot seat. We do see, again, heavy rogue emphasis, but it's not necessarily the slash-in variant, looking maybe more so towards the rake. We do see another rake on the board, but they're going up against Blotto. I do see that Texan just picked up Blotto. Perfect timing there. But we're still trying to see who can give Bart their first loss in this one. But with a couple of rakes and dashes on the side of Bart as well, it's really setting Nariba up to be contested in a little bit of a rough spot. Let's get a better angle on here as we do see the Infernal Skyfall going to do a little bit of damage to the front line, but maybe not as much as they were hoping. Nariba's team just getting completely shut down in this instance here by Bart, just completely locked down. The big old geyser in the middle as well. You break the front line, now you got to deal with this guy who's an absolute beefcake. You're not going through them very easily. The Harbinger side of things just gets nastier as we do have the Mammoth now online here for Bart. That is going to allow for 4 Harbinger to now be active, which of course now means that they're going to be doing a percentage of their Omega power and resistances as energy damage, as if it wasn't already beefy enough. Now it's just going to be doing consistent damage as well. A couple other cool evolutions that we did see here as well. The Queen has arrived. We do see the Monarch coming on through. Oh my god, a perfect Monarch as well coming on through here for Texan. Absolutely gorgeous alluvial. We did see the Blotto come through here too. So damage as well as just tank at the same time coming on through beautifully. But we very well might lose our first player here if things don't go Nariba's way. We do see them at 12 HP as of this moment. Going up against Draknian. Drak having a little bit of a harder time this time, losing a lot more health compared to the last game. But they are level 9. They have a bunch of additional augments onto the Fury, but again, everybody and their mother is chasing the snakes for some reason, because it's just such a good alluvial. So that is still a Fury. In a sea of Furioxes, it's just a little snake trying to keep up, even though it has all these beautiful augments, and it's really biting Drak here in this game. Let's try to get a better angle here onto this battle. Infernal Skyfall to the skies. It's a squishier team to go through, so we saw some serious damage, but there is still plenty of firepower coming on through here from Drak, and that's going to absolutely demolish Nariba. Going to take him down here as our first player out of the game, going to fall in 7th. And Droa still playing their matchup here as well. They are going to end up falling to Wolverine. So Droa going to be the next one on the hot seat. Going into this next game here, we'll have to see if they can hold on. They were 7th in the last game. Pretty much right in the same position as this moment, but now they have to go up against Texan, who again has a ton of fully evolved alluvials. And just like, I'm never, like, very rarely am I just going to like eyeball a team and say that's arguably just way better. But I tell you what, I look at the big difference here between Texan and what Androa has currently, and it's hard for me to find a way that Androa can maybe pull this off. That Blotto is going to do a great job of keeping the Furiox nice and safe in the corner. And if I recall correctly, that's actually for Aegis, so that now enables the fact that health can be shared through Aegis units as well. So this is actually a surprisingly tanky Furiox. Look at the difference here, 5,000 compared to 3,000. So even if the Furiox gets into trouble thanks to these Wraith Strikes from the Rake, it still has a lot of safety. Is it going to be enough? Sure as hell is going to be enough there. Texan going to take and draw down this time by. But how about Dr. Spoon? The behemoth's coming on through. We've seen this before, but it's a sin-off this time directly into the face of the Furiox. But now there's a big old polar bear in the way as well, and Bart will end up falling. Texan going to take the lead here in this lobby. The big polar bear, the Jotime, coming on through, and of course with the augments that it has, Facebreaker, of course, nice safety, just being able to break targetability if things get heated. But then the Resonating Pulse Reactor, just allowing for you to use your Omega power and turn it into attack speed every single time you use your Omega. And with the Polar Bear in particular, its Omega comes out relatively quickly. So you're firing these off really fast, and then it just turns into an auto-attacking monstrosity. You see a big evolution coming on through. Sure enough, the race to the Star Nose is going to go to Wolverine. We do see them getting a nice little pickup between these two alluvials, actually. The Gazatep and the Malura online, ready to go. That is 7 Earth, 4 Granite, 2 Bloom coming on out here for Wolverine. Meanwhile, the fighters, the behemoths, they are here ready to rock here once again for Dr. Spoon. And see how they can do. Right now, the Polar Bear is in a relatively safe spot, but now the Forest is directly in its face. That Forest having the double Echoing Force Reactor as well. Additional damage and crit on every elimination. It's going to still end up going down, though. Not going to end up being there for long enough. The Frost coming out from that Polar Bear might have slowed down their attack speed just enough. But what's becoming problematic here is the 4 Granite. Getting the invulnerability every couple of seconds is making this so irritating for the Polar Bear to actually pull through, and it's just stuck. It doesn't know where to fire, and it's going to end up being a massive win there for Wolverine. Dr. Spoon going to be necked down to the hot seat, and if I saw that correctly, Bart just going to get the coin again, the poker term, gonna get the nuts as Umber is here, and it is Harbinger as well. A beautiful Umber ready to rock up against Drac here in just a moment's time. A bad enough loss here for Drac, and that can be curtains. But we do also again have Dr. Spoon with the behemoth side of things versus Texan. I think this is going to be the faster battle one way or another. I'm gonna hop in with Drac to see how they can perform here this time. This is 8 Water, 2 Toxic alongside Tsunami, going up against Drac, 6 Nature Verdant alongside lots of Aegis. First shot coming from the Sin-Off, going to go directly into the Fur Knight, but more importantly, the Furiox has stayed safe. Just plowing away through the Mammoth. They are going to be able to take care of that big Mammoth. That big AoE stun is now gone. There is true sight, actually, from the Ranger given over to the Furiox. So when this Wraith Strike comes through, they still can shoot this Umber. Can they burst the Umber down in time? No! The Harbinger proc coming in clutch right before the Umber goes down. Drac Nyan going to take the hit, and that will be the elimination of Drac. They will fall in 4th, but we do lose Dr. Spoon as well in 5th place. Which leaves us with our podium. Texan, Bart, and Wolverine, your final 3 here for this round. Texan and Wolverine still with plenty of credits to their name, 30 some odd left to go. And again, to kind of reiterate what we were seeing in the last game, Texan finished 4th in game number 1, Bart finished 2nd, Wolverine won game number 1. So this is already, for both Bart and for Wolverine, this is absolutely fantastic. But if Texan could get themselves a win here, it would absolutely change the entire dynamic of our top 3, I feel like. There's an upgrade. We do see here for Texan coming on through. The Super Chicken is alive, or the Shoebill rather. There we go. Blazonite is here, ready to play. Ready to interrupt and make the day of this Sin-Off absolutely miserable, because I do not believe this is a 5 Scion. They're 1 away, so they have to watch out for that. But look out. What on earth is this? Harbinger Invoker Umber. We have more chips in play, making this game just even that much more ridiculous. So every single time one of those invokers casts, it's actually giving more Omega power to the Umber as well. And of course, the lower health that Umber gets, it's going to get more Omega power and tankiness as well. How do you stop this thing? Everybody just dove into Bart's team, and Bart just absolutely swallowed it whole like nobody's business. How about Wolverine? What do you have against Bart? Can you somehow break this? Again, similar scenario. It was just the Malura, the last one standing. Bart is in a fantastic position. And the last big upgrade coming on through. Scoriox has arrived. Can he get paired up with the Blasonite somehow? Sit that Scoriox in the middle of the Twistwing. Get a bunch of additional attack speed onto that Scoriox. Granted, it does not have % health damage, though, so it wouldn't be as effective as other scenarios. Double Archos for additional Aegis buffing. This is something that you can absolutely do. Not commonly used, but I like the play here from Texan. Adds additional walling, additional healing, and of course, with that Rejuvenasis, you get that additional root as well. Going to make it extremely difficult to actually close in on that Scoriox. Hell, even the little Fire Grocko is still here. Even the Grocko's tiers are level 60. What the heck, man? Lots of shots fired here. Rampfight doesn't necessarily get the biggest value on that first Omega, but the Scoriox here on the side of Texan is still relatively safe. The Forest trying to use those Ghosting Screams, getting into the backline. Let's get a better angle here onto this. Can they get onto that Scoriox? They have. They're swarming it. Malura, the granted invulnerability is making it so that shots do nothing, and that very well will spell disaster here for Texan as soon as that Rampfight gets dealt with. And there we go. I love the play there from Texan, but it's not going to be enough. What Wolverine is cooking is just mitigating anything that Texan threw at them that time. Now, this is going to be a very scary scenario here for Wolverine. Going up against Bart, who's been kind of in the driver's seat over these last couple of rounds. And yes, at the same time, Texan's going up against Bart as well. But the thing is Texan still has more health left. So even if they both lose, heck, even if they both lose badly, Wolverine would end up third. Texan will end up in second if things don't end up changing. We're going to watch the Ghost battle at hand, or not the Ghost battle, the live battle rather. Or no, let's go to the Ghost actually, just in case. I want to see what happens. But I'm going to be keeping an eye on the Umber, on just this entire team here of Bart. Because yes, in theory, focus the Umber, that's how things should be going, but with it being Harbinger, it's just going to hit that much harder, and it's just so good at clutching. The health bars on the side of Bart's teams, like, they're not even moving at this point. Umber finally going down to about half, but look at that Wraith Strike. That thing was a nice quick double kill. Takes care of the Gazatep. The Sin Elf's going to back them up there with the Fur Knight. Now it's just a matter of dealing with the tank line, and that Umber is still beautifully sitting at full HP. There's absolutely nothing the Wolverine 777 can do this time by. They might have won game one, but it's not going to happen twice in a row at least. Bart will be able to take them down here slowly but surely as soon as that invulnerability fades. That will be that. So Wolverine going to fall in third. Texan did lose as well. They have one shot to potentially get some sort of upgrade to win the game, but as we see on their bench, there is basically nothing here. They are stuck at level 9, and Bart even had a little bit of additional credits there to get into level 10, just to be the icing on the cake. There's just too much to deal with. So many high health bars, protected alluvials. And the 4 Harbinger just coming in clutch. The last minute move onto the Umber, going to go right next to the Scoriox. It's going to dive in as well. Following up with the 2 Archoses here as well. It's going to get rooted consistently, but it doesn't care about moving right now. There is a lot of damage coming on through, but there's no true sight onto the Scoriox. So while that dodge is active, that Umber is basically just impenetrable as the entire team gets absolutely crushed. Bart with a dominating performance here in game number 2, taking the win in game 2, of course, here of the RattyData tournament. Nicely done. Yeah, so Bart from Atlas going to take the win here with that Harbinger water-based team. The fact that we got the double chips coming on through, the legendary augments, kind of crazy, not going to lie. Texan, another solid finish, though, going to be here in second place this time. Wolverine, again, one game one, now going to be getting a third place. Solid run overall. Drac as well, solid run, going to be finishing in fourth. Dr. Spoon, fifth. Androa, sixth. And then Nariba rounding us up here in seventh. Yeah, that looked scary. So let's take a live update as to what our standings are looking like. After 2 games here in the RattyData tournament, we do have Bart from Atlas currently going to lead by 1 point over Wolverine 777. We have Texan going to be in third as this moment by 1 point over Draknyen. Then Nariba going to be fifth, Dr. Spoon in sixth, and Droa seventh, and then Hector, I believe, is retired at eighth here. So let's get one more in there. This is crazy though. Lots of opportunity, lots of moves can be made still. Quickly sending over the codes to everybody. All right. So, what do y'all think now? Wolverine still absolutely within striking distance. I mean, the top 4 have all been very consistent so far. Like, playing well. Is there a world where anybody from this top 4 all of a sudden falls into, like, a 7th? What do we get? And the gang is all here. Okay, just throwing the starting request over to Ratty. If all's good, looks like all's good. So one more time. Let's do it. Oh. Competitive illuvium is always so fun to cast. And I honestly, like, I'm still super excited. With even just Illuvium Arena as is right now, like, I wish the game was easier to get into for newcomers. And then, say, Auto Drone going away, of course, did not make that any easier. But the game, when it's played with a full lobby, when it's played in a competitive setting with match-made players, it's a beautiful game. And I'm still, even as somebody who's casted basically... I'm not gonna say every esport. I don't want to be that conceited, but like, I've casted League of Legends, I've casted Valorant, I've casted Overwatch, I've casted Rocket League, I've Pokemon, I've casted a bunch of different esports. There's something about Illuvium Arena that just hits different and makes it one of, if not my favorite. And I look forward to seeing where this goes. Because I know even with Obelisk Rising, there's supposed to be a competitive side of things for Obelisk Rising as well. But it's more so what we see with World of Warcraft, where it's the Mythic plus the dungeons. Like speedrunning dungeons. Not player versus player, but more so like speedrunning kind of scenario. And with a setup like that, it allows for Illuvium Arena competitive and Obelisk Rising competitive to coincide with each other. And it makes me extremely excited to see where this goes. Of course, I'm not always going to be super gung-ho about every change that Illuvium does, but I see the potential there, and I would love to see it flourish. Tell you what, the community keeps me in the game. Like, the spark was lit a long time ago, but you all kept it going, and I definitely appreciate that. Okay, so it was going to be Brightland Steps again, but it's the one that bugs out, so it goes to no region. So this is just going to be the finish off the RattyData tournament. We're going to have as much of a straight-up battle as we can get. Let's see. Unless all of a sudden we get a bunch of composite chips in here once again. Could very well potentially come on through. We'll have to see. Sec. All right. Are you ready? Let's get in the game. Your final battle here in our RattyData tournament. Game 3 of our best of 3. This is going to get hell of exciting. In terms of the region, again, there is no region. This is just going to be a heads-up battle to finish things off here for the RattyData tournament. Again, to kind of recap everybody in terms of where they stand in this tournament, we do have Bart from Atlas currently leading by 1 point over Wolverine 777. Then 2 points behind, we have Texan. Then 1 point behind Texan, we have Draknyen in 4th. Then 5 points behind Drak is going to be Nariba in 5th. 1 point behind Nariba is going to be Dr. Spoon. And then actually tied with Dr. Spoon there for 6th and 7th is going to be Androa. We have passed the round 4, so let's take a look at the weapons going into our final battle. Bart, okay, completely out of the comfort zone from what I understand. We have rogues coming on through here for Bart. Texan, the tried and true. We do have the Sprout Guard coming on through. That's your Earth Scion weapon with the big shield. Nariba has that Earth Bulwark Ember Bastion ready to rock. Dr. Spoon, the Lava Gauntlet. You can go Inferno Arcanite with this, but you can't go the Behemoth route. We'll see if that makes an impact. Wolverine 777 picking up the Sprout Guard as well, Earth Scion weapon. Draknyen has the Flame Warden staff, so they can still do their traditional build as they wish. It's just going to be more fire-oriented than nature. Androa also picking up the Ember Buckler. That's the Fire Bulwark weapon. We do have one bot in this game as well. I'm not going to talk about them too much unless all of a sudden they are stealing some of the alluvials that one of our players are looking for sometime down the road. In terms of economy off the start here, the one thing that I want to point out immediately is actually for Nariba's team. They are the first player I've seen unironically actually evolve their links. The Stoic Lynx coming on through, and it is a Fire Bulwark Lynx, because with the Inferno builds, one thing that does kind of get lost in those builds is tankiness. So if a Lynx can come in and actually help fill that gap, because otherwise you're just looking at your Seer, potentially, and you're not guaranteed to always hit that. Yes, Jotun is naturally tanky, but it's not a tank per se. So if you can actually fill one of those spots with a fully evolved Lynx, that might be a fantastic way to do it, as we see the Lynx now going up against Draknyen, up against their Flish. The absolute stacked Lynx coming on through here as well. Very beautiful. Level 60 onto an evolved Lynx too. That is very rare. You don't see that too often. But they weren't the only one that went for the Lynx as well, and I feel like it's probably a bit of a similar situation. We do see Androa evolving into the Stoic Lynx here at the same time. Level 46 onto this one. A very beautiful one, though, in terms of stats. I'd argue perfect, because movement speed doesn't truly make a huge effect. If anything, sometimes too much movement speed can be a problem. But with the NPC round, everybody has been relatively conservative with the exception of Androa. And I mean, that's been basically how this entire series has been played out so far, where Androa is completely content with spending a lot early in the game, getting up to level 7 before like round 10, and really pushing to be that first player to hit Inferno. However, with the build that they're going for as it stands right now, as we're watching them go up against Dr. Spoon, I'm talking about Inferno, but there's nothing about this team currently that says Inferno to me. If anything, we have like Aegis potentially coming on through here. So it's going to now be, what, the Aegis buffed Lynx to get them started here versus Dr. Spoon? Let's see how it goes. Oh, this could very well, the dash might have kind of given it away a little bit in terms of their strategy, but they could very well go for a Steam option here. If you do pick up a Flood, or just an Ebb even, you can then go for Steam Aegis, and then supercharge the Umber. But it is still very tough to actually hit. But for the time being, the early spending coming out here from Androa will pay dividends. It's going to be able to take care of Dr. Spoon so far. Ariba and Texan still going at it. Let's see how this one ends up going. It's that big old Lynx. Oh, this is just a menacing Lynx, actually, to try and have to deal with. I know I'm absolutely biased because, of course, I love the Lynxes. I know in a game full of super cool creatures, why does mine have to be, or my favorite one have to be the one that looks the most traditional to an actual real character or real animal? But I love the Lynxes. But Texan, I believe, did end up taking that one down because, of course, the overtime pulses ignore shield. So even though Nariba's Lynx had so much health in terms of shield, it did not have much actual green health, so they do end up falling. Let's see, take a look at Drac. Drac's going up against Bart. Bart right back into the driver's seat by using a completely different team comp compared to the last two games. Opting for Rogue to start things off here. And based off of their current setup, it's looking for maybe more of a Revenant kind of style. Which, if you're predicting that there's going to be composite chips thrown into the game, it is risky as hell, but for Revenant is still very good. It's hard as hell to hit, because you need the actual chip. Okay, I was going to say, there's no chance that I just summoned a box for that, but no, that's regular synergy. Yeah, they're hanging on to us for quite a long time here for Drac. Okay. We got Drac versus Dr. Spoon. I'm just making sure this isn't Bart versus Texan. Actually, this is a battle between two of our players up at the very top here. First and second going at it. Bart, we know, is going for the rogue side of things, but what is Wolverine doing? We do see Enchanter showing up a lot here in this tournament. With the Kukaloose ready to rock. A perfect Kukaloose, just needs a couple more levels on this thing, which I'm sure it will get in due time. The Flish going to be immediately taken down by the rogues of Bart, but that Kukaloose is still standing strong in the middle. It is built tanky, and it's been able to hold the line so far. A nice potential win here for the side of Wolverine, as long as they can lock down that Rampy. Finding a Rampy at level 6 actually is kind of crazy as well. The low chance to get that. But Wolverine will not be persuaded. They're going to be able to take them down. We're getting close to our next NPC round here as well. Androa, let's see what you've been cooking up here. Again, this is versus Bart. Bart does now have Revenant online. The Verminio is here. So Spore Revenant potentially could be the play. There's, of course, absolute beauty, and especially with the Verminio, you do not need movement speed. It's diving to the opposite side. It's going to be completely fine wherever it essentially drops into. Dr. Spoon going to go up to level 7 here. You see a polar bear there? But of course, Behemoth is not going to naturally come through unless they could potentially change their weapon on an NPC round. We'll see if they get lucky in that regard, if that's the kind of play that they're looking for. But 5 water here for Androa means they're going to be getting their Omegas pretty quickly, but they do have to survive. They are a pretty naturally squishy squad, and we see it's only the tanks essentially left, and they might not have the damage to actually clutch this up. The Verminio going to waddle on through, smack them with the Squall here in just a second, and there they go. They're both going to end up falling. Bart in the driver's seat once again here in this game. At least in the top 2 anyway. Texan, what have you been up to? You're going up against Drakian, actually. And Texan might remain the true driver, rather, of the seat, unless all of a sudden this Flish has something to do with it. Unlike the past games, Drac has not been able to find a Fury very quickly. And actually, the Fleesh was able to turn things around there. The nice little duo of the Archos plus the Fleesh coming on through. This happy little duo right here. Able to clutch things up rather nicely. There we go. And that's the thing I feel like a lot of people actually forget is the Flish actually makes for a pretty good auto attack carry, at least for the early game. So if you are trying to stack augments for a Furiox or for another physical carry, you can utilize the Flish to be that placeholder until you find the carry that you want later. Optimally, you don't wait too long to find the Fury, and I imagine that's probably on the mind here of Drac. They are currently up to level 7, so their odds of actually finding the snake are a little bit better, and not as many people are chasing the snakes this time. As of right now, it's only Dr. Spoon that actually has a Fury on the board. A couple of evolutions coming on through here, especially here for Bart. I did see a Lilura on the bench ready to rock. It's not going to be on field just yet, but doesn't matter. Ramp fight coming on through. A nice, beautiful hollow one at that. Gorgeous, gorgeous ramp fight. Arctase going to be coming on through here for Drac, so they can go for Inferno. There we go. It's going to add on to the board here. Forest being upgraded into here for the side of Texan. And we're going to now see Arcanite Bloom coming on through. That's a different way to spin it. But in terms of our battle here this time for this fight, we do have the Mystics up against the Revenant Vanguards. A little bit of a mixture of everything rogue coming out here from Bart. Just needs to evolve that Twine, and we'll have the Verdant Vanguard style coming on through here as well. Ramp Bite with some good damage, and that Stabbing as well, just slicing through everything. It's just a matter of dealing with this Kookaloo, and it will be curtains. Nariba going to take the hit on this one. Top over to Drac, actually, going up against Androa. Oh, nope, never mind, that just finished up. Let's hop in with Drac, though. Drac's going up against a bot, never mind. Yes, let's catch up with Androa. Okay, now this makes things interesting. Androa, very well, if they wanted to, if the Ebb comes on through, and you bind that to your Ranger, that is going to be Steam Aegis. So as of right now, it's going to be Wildfire Aegis, and it looks like as of right now, there is no Crunk on the field. So it's a little bit of a missed opportunity, so to speak. But again, the 5 Bulwarks coming out here from Nariba, they are going to be tanky, but it's not going to do a ton of damage, at least immediately. It is going to allow for that Alfie and the Rake to just tag team up on this poor little flare to start things off. Let this Rake start doing some damage. It's not going to be ramping up at all. This is more so just pure water for the sake of energy regeneration. Just hitting quick and hitting hard seems to be the way of the game. And with this Alfie just consistently backing up the Rake, it was pretty good, but the tank line coming out here from Nariba was actually just way too damn much, and the fact that that Rake just did not ramp up at all might have ended up costing poor Androa this time by. They'll get knocked down to about 28. They still have 2 more lives left. Because yes, you got the 5 Bulwarks in here as well here for Androa, but the scary part about Umber isn't just the upfront damage all the time. It's usually about the ramping up at the late game threat, the clutch factor. Of course, since it's changed where that Omega no longer does untargetability, but does dodge instead, it is still much harder to get a snowballing Umber to truly carry like we're used to seeing from, say, the Illuvium Pro League, for example. But getting Steam online is definitely a good way to do it, and I do like the change that we see here from Androa. They did end up going for Steam Aegis. This is going to be that Rake now. It's going to be getting every couple of seconds a good old buff to its damage amplification as well as some energy. So the longer the fight goes, you're going up against tanks, well, this thing's going to hit harder. And look at that Wraith Strike. It's chunking them for at least a quarter every single time. So even though this is a very tanky squad from Wolverine, it's not going to matter. It's just a matter of dealing with this Lura now. And there it goes, the Rake. Happy doggo, now that it's got its steam coming on through and doing work here for Androa. Well, let's see. I'm going to ride along here with Androa one more time. I want to see how they can do versus Bart in this instance. Of course, this Stabbin is absolutely menacing. Very, very scary. Of course, it's going to be ramping up just like the Rake. But the thing is this entire team of Barts is very squishy with the exception of maybe the Verminio and the Lura. But still, relatively squishy squad. That Rake might not be able to necessarily capitalize? We'll have to see. We do have the resonating pulse reactor as well onto this penguin, so it's going to be getting additional attack speed every single time it fires off that super surger, buffs itself up, and does a ton of extra damage and range. But there's been some pretty decent damage coming on through. The Alfie, as a martyrdom, is going to be able to get the shot on the penguin right as it goes down. So there we go, and Droa starting to make the comeback here with Steam Aegis. At the top of the board here in regards to our top 3 players in the tournament as of right now. Again, to reiterate, Bart is currently ahead in this tournament by 1 point over, I believe it was, let me double check just to confirm, Wolverine. So 1 point over Wolverine as of this moment, with Texan short to follow, then Drac Nyen. The one player doing a bit of an upset as of right now is actually Dr. Spoon, though, currently leading the charge in this lobby. What kind of team comp are they going for here? That is a lot of fire coming on through here. Fire chip as well, getting it added on. Is that a composite chip? It is not. It is just a synergy chip. So it could have been crazier. Our final game has been toning down the crazy in terms of the composite chips and in terms of the region effects. But it's meaning that everybody gets to kind of try their tried and true strategies, not have to be too flexible on the fly. Obviously, you still got to be flexible, but adding additional things from chips, at least, isn't necessarily on the table right now. Dr. Spoon going to spend everything they have. Level 9, and then Fernite now on the field. And Droa picks up yet another rake. If they're looking for Umber, they're damn well close, but they've spent the bank in order to get where they are right now. They're going to have to survive at least a little bit longer. Nariba has spent everything as well. They do have Mystics currently online. Or not Mystics, rather. They went for Enchanter, my bad. Wrong team, actually. Or is it because it's up against a ghost that that's happening? Okay, yeah, so Nariba does have Mystic actually online here, going up against Wolverine. We have Drac going up against Bart currently. Let's ride along here with Drac one more time. The Fury has been found. It's in the spot where the Fleece was, right in the back corner, but it's not going to be able to stay alive versus that Penguin. It's snowballed already too hard. It's all up to the Arctace to be able to clutch this out, and right before it takes off, that Penguin's going to seal the deal and take it down. Wolverine versus Texan also currently in progress. That's going to be the win here for Wolverine, actually. Taking care of the polar bear to finish the job. But we have a couple players within elimination range. Androa going up against Texan. Nariba going up against Bart. 8 water now complete here for Androa. So they're going to be ramping up Omega power on every single water unit Omega. And this now includes the Lynx, which does have a water imprint here as well. So this team, I mean, it's set up to ramp. It can hit hard the longer this game goes. But the traditional meta currently in Illuvium Arena is upfront burst damage. So how are you going to be able to ramp if you're already dead? Let's see how it goes. We do have 6 air coming out here from Texan, and there is no true sight on this team. So this Rake is going to be relying basically strictly off of the Wraith Strike to find its damage. Its auto attacks are going to be very tough to actually get through. But the Sin-Off is there for backup, but the stun from the Mammoth stops that first one in its cast. Rake down very, very low, down to a quarter, but they are finding kill after kill. And also ramping up, thanks to, of course, all of these water Omegas coming on through. The Sin-Off is getting some very serious value in terms of these Omegas. Now it's just a matter of dealing with the Ranger, dealing with the Polar Bear, and there it goes. The Steam Duo, or what would be the Steam Duo, the Pistol Shrimp and the Thylacine, teaming up and getting a big, big win there. As we see Nariba going to be our first one out of here, going to fall in 7th place. GG's, Nariba. Been an absolute pleasure watching you on the battlefield once again here. Don't get to see you too often, so again, always a pleasure when I get to see you. Androa now going up against Wolverine 777. Wolverine again with air, not air, it's an Earth Enchanter style build. 7 Earth ready. Bloom is here as well, so Wolverine does not mind if the game goes long either, as long as the Forest stays alive. Now the Rake going to just essentially herd in the Granite units. Both of them going to immediately trap in. Actually completely traps in that Rake there for just a second. But the Forest on the side of Wolverine is taking a ton of damage. Walked directly into the water beam of the Sinolf and does end up falling. The big carry coming out here from Wolverine is down. Meanwhile, the Rake and the Sinolf are still shooting. The big old Flood down bottom, trying to hold the line as long as possible. Stop that Allura from getting there. But I think there's just been enough damage done to the point where the Rake might be able to snowball and win this 2v1. It's going to be tough. We'll have to see. One-on-one now. Charm, but not going to be enough. One more Wraith Strike, and the little Rake that could. Going to finish the job here for Androa, getting another solid victory. And that's going to keep Androa in the game, but we have something kind of scary here for our top three. Texan is within kill shot. 17 points current, or 17 health, going up against Dr. Spoon, looking to make an upset. That last loss definitely made things a little bit worse for wear here for Texan. Texan, of course, currently third, trying to make an impact here, move up into the silver or gold medal spots if they can, but a rough knockout here could be curtains. Definitely going to take a look at this one here, going up against Dr. Spoon. Again, 7 Fire Inferno up against Air. If you have True Sight, Air gets cooked. But otherwise, Air just dodges. Let's see how this goes. Texan looks pretty decent off the start. Good old Namish shunts coming on through right as it goes down. So that is going to be some big damage. But the Furiox, not the Furiox, but the Ranger and the rest of these Alluvials here from the Fire team is just going to do too damn much. And we are going to lose Androa, and we are going to lose Texan here in this final game. Texan out at 5th. In case of a tiebreaker, they take a look at how many first places you received, how many second places you received, how many third places you received, and if it's still tied, then they go off of final placement in last game, if I recall correctly. So in terms of the tournament as a whole, if Bart can hang on a little bit more and then Wolverine goes down, that's it. They got it. They're going to be the winner here of the RattyData tournament. However, there is still absolutely going to be plenty to fight for, because of course the prizes get better the more you move up on the results sheet. But our winner would be secured, and a lot has to come down to this battle right here, right now. Dr. Spoon going up against Wolverine. Wolverine has 92 credits in the bank, but a big pickup here for Bart. They found the Malura. They actually clutched out the full Vanguard squad. They have arrived. A little bit annoying here for Wolverine, because we do see they have the Lura themselves. It was there on the field. They're looking to build more, but did not have enough. So instead of rolling, they go up to level 10. Just try to do as many alluvials as possible on the board. They have the alluvial advantage, level 10 compared to level 9. But it's the Fighters and Templar plus Arcanite with this Enchanter style coming on through. Ramp Fight first Omega is going to be an air ball here for Dr. Spoon. But the Forest here for the green side for Wolverine is doing pretty good. It's been able to clean up and the tank line's been holding firm. Wolverine's not done just yet. Gonna take this win here on Dr. Spoon. Keep themselves in the game. And now here we go. It's going to be Drac who's looking to break into the podium themselves. Currently 4th here in this game. Looking to try and make a dent now that Texan's been eliminated early. Depending on how this goes, this very well might bump Drac into a podium spot. But it also depends on what happens here with Bart and Dr. Spoon. In terms of credits, everybody has put everything on the table. All is spent. Bart might be level 8, but they essentially have got all the alluvials that they want. Level 10 versus level 10, though, here in this one. Drac, Aegis with 6 fire, 5 nature. Meanwhile, Earth Granite Enchanter coming back once again, looking for the Bloom to assist with that Forest. 1 away from Phosphorus as well, so if Wolverine can hang on and they find Phosphorus, that would be absolutely incredible. Let's get a better angle here of this one as we see the Ghosting Screams coming on out here from that Forest. It's going into the tank line as of right now, but the Forest doesn't mind necessarily taking its time here. It's getting buffed up with more Bloom stacks. and it's sitting there just tag teams. But actually, the Furiox went for the Forest instead of the Goliath. An absolute clutch play coming out here from the Fur Knight and the Furiox, and that is going to turn this one right around. And because of that, we do lose, not Dr. Spoon, we lose Wolverine in 4th place. We have Dr. Spoon versus Draknyen. This is the actual live battle. Bart is going up against the Ghost, just trying to keep themselves alive here just a little bit longer. In terms of credits, everybody once again has spent everything in the bank, which is definitely unfortunate here for Dr. Spoon, looking for a massive comeback. Hell, finding a Seer right now and having natural Behemoth would be huge, but they're just coming up short. Drag, of course, holding a couple of the Singes as well, so those just off the table. But still, a very tanky squad coming on through. How long does that Polar Bear stay safe? How long can the Furiox stay safe? Well, it stays safe from that first shot at least, but the Arctase comes in to fly on through. It does so much damage to it. The Fur Knight nearly gets there as well. It's got a better angle. There we go. Furiox once again. We've seen it clutch up before. It takes care of one. It takes care of a second. It's a one-on-one with the Ranger. And again, Drac is going to be able to hang on. Dr. Spoon is out of here in 3rd place. And we have, for sure, our final battle. Drac looking for absolute money moves here. If they can somehow pull this off. I don't know if that's a tournament win, but that's definitely a shot up the podium. Here we go. Rogue Vanguard Revenant alongside the 6 Fire, 5 Nature plus Inferno. Bart versus Drac to close out the RattyData tournament. Let's see how this goes. Currently going to see that ramp fight go up to the skies. Drac's team's taking a lot of heat. It's allowing for that Penguin to snowball like crazy. The Furiox is clutched up many times, but it cannot clutch up against the Death Pengu. The Rogues are back. Bart piloting them to perfection, and Bart is not only going to win game number 3, but will win the RattyData tournament. Congratulations. GG's, everybody. I hope you had a fantastic time, regardless of where you finished. But it's awesome seeing your month's work of sit and goes coming on through. And Bart from Atlas coming in clutch here, going for the Rogues, going for the classic Verdant Vanguard with the fully evolved Twine, fully evolved Malura, fully evolved Slashin'. Death Pengu finally had its chance to shine once again. Draknyen, a valiant effort here in all the way up in the 2nd place, able to get a very like Wildfire-esque team, even though it wasn't necessarily truly Wildfire. It was actually Inferno from what I understand. But that Furiox clutched up so many times. Even just in those last 2 fights we saw it. That was so cool to see. Dr. Spoon, considering how much of a hard time they had early in the tournament, this was a nice change of pace here. Able to get all the way up to 3rd place. Congrats there. Wolverine and Texan were on the podium. We'll have to see where they ended up actually finishing here in the updated standings. I'm holding right now. I haven't taken a look at it. We know Bart won, but what does the actual podium look like? We'll see very, very shortly. Then Androa and Nariba gonna fall in 6th and 7th, but still solid runs nonetheless here, everybody. Just making it into the grand finals is a feat in itself, and I hope you still take pride in it. All right. As soon as I saw Axe in chat, I knew as soon as I mentioned 6th and 7th place that you were going to make a comment. I swear to God. All right. So, the final results. Final results here of the RattyData tournament finale is going to be Bart Atlas, of course, winning it, but we knew that part, but nonetheless, congratulations there for Bart. Wolverine 777 going to secure 2nd place with that final 4th place finish in the final game. But Draknyen with the 2nd place Gonna bump them up from 4th into 3rd, bringing themselves onto the podium right at the last possible second, thanks to a lot of those clutches from that Furiox. Texan shall fall in 4th, but still a very admirable performance here in the finale. Dr. Spoon going to be in 6th after a solid final game here. Nariba going to be 6th, and then Androa 7th, and then Hector retired at 8th after game number 1. But GG's, everybody. This has been an absolute blast. And from what I understand here, just kind of going off of the website, once again here, if you want to get into these kind of competitions, first off, it's awesome seeing more community events here. Big shout outs to Bond Daddy Ratty for hosting these events. There are weekly sessions from what I understand, like we see here. In fact, there was one just kind of wrapping up actually right now. So the main, the tournament was going at the same time as the session, but these happen every single week from what I understand, playing for $100 worth of skulls. And then there is also a monthly event as well. I don't think everyone has a $500 prize pool attached to it, but there is still some big prizes every single month, no matter what. If you are interested in that, again, this website here, this is RattyData.com. Make sure you go on over and find yourself a tournament ticket. Pick one of those up. That way you can participate in the weekly and the monthly events. But of course, that isn't the only competition that does kind of go around as well. While the RattyData ones is the more intense one where you're playing for the cash prizing, I do also want to give a quick shout out, of course, to my own Illuvium Arena House League that happens weekly on Fridays, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time or 7:30 p.m. UTC. Where my tournaments or my events are more so geared towards newcomers building their collection up and getting alluvials as the prizes rather than cash prizes. So for the veterans that come on through, of course, you're absolutely welcome to do so as well. But a lot of these extra alluvials that you get, whether they're given over to the to newcomers or you're using them for deathmatch, there is still absolutely a purpose. But again, if you're trying to play for like a serious tournament experience, RattyData is definitely the way to go. But of course, there's still plenty of action around. I had a lot of fun covering this. Big thank you again to Bond Daddy Ratty for asking me to cast this one. It worked out, so I'm happy I was able to do so. This was a ton of fun. Big congratulations again to Bart for the victory. And in terms of my own stream, I'll be taking tomorrow off, but I will be back with what is my anniversary week. My 1 year of creating content as Silent is essentially, I believe it's Wednesday, but I'm doing a mini celebration of sorts throughout the entire week. It'll be my turn to hop into the arena on Monday. Then we've got This Week in Illuvium on Wednesday, and then it'll be House League time on Friday. So looking forward to being in the arena, still hanging around Illuvium, just having a fun time here. As long as I'm having fun, I'll keep doing this. Regardless of if there's something new and exciting, regardless if I agree with everything that Illuvium does, we'll be doing something nonetheless, because I just have an absolute blast doing this. So big thank you to, again, everybody for making this possible, and for Illuvium themselves as well, because from what I understand, between the weekly $100 skulls for Bond Daddy Ratty's event, and then supplying the prizing for House League, Illuvium has done an incredible job of keeping our community events loaded with prizes, keeping it reasonable so that we're not taking from the runway or anything like that, but making it so that there is something to fight for, even if there isn't necessarily something innate in the game itself. Through the community, there is something to fight for, and that makes me extremely happy and proud to be a part of. But with that being said, I shall be calling it a night. Big thank you, of course, to everybody for tuning in, showing your support for myself, as well as all of the players here in this event. It means the world to me, and I'm sure to the players as well. But I definitely need to rest my voice for a little bit, so I will catch you all on Monday, as always. Whether it be the deathmatch pit or the arena itself, good luck on your battles, and good luck on your training, Ranger. See you Monday.
Woke up tired, didn't sleep all night. Mine's still running like a traffic light. Red for stop and green for go. I'm stuck somewhere in between them both. brushed my teeth and checked my phone. Everyone looks like they've already grown. Smiling faces, perfect lives. I'm here asking, what am I doing with mine? I don't have a plan, I just have today. Trying not to throw the little good away. Heart's still heavy, but I'm still here. Taking one small step through the fear. I'm tired, but I'm not giving up. I'm scared, but I'm still showing up. One small step is enough today. I'm not fine, but I'm on my way. I'm tired, but I'm not giving up. I'm scared, but I'm still showing up. One small step is enough today. I'm not fine, but I'm on